Good morning, Lafayette. It is your meteorologist, Brian Burden, here with your forecast for the rest of this week and beyond. And we have all kinds of information for you today. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm not going to start singing. You know, guys don't want to hear that at all. That is for sure. But we do have some, I wouldn't call it changes. There's always changes in the forecast. Every single day is a little bit different than the day before. That is for sure. Matter of fact, what happens this morning may be changing as we get through to tonight, so those kind of things happen. Weather is always developing and moving along and through its system. So sometimes you might hear something that you heard on Monday and maybe you don't pay attention to it, and then on Wednesday you're like, wow, I thought we were going to have a nice day and it's raining. Well, things change during that time frame. Nothing that dramatic, but we are going to see some weather changes in the next few days, and maybe a little tease out there with hot on some of the information, just to give you an idea of what's going on throughout most of people here right now. Let me make sure I can check and make sure everything's on correct, right? That kind of thing. Let me move along here, and let's just go straight to some of the charts there real quick. We get into our current temperature at 53 degrees Fahrenheit right now this morning. Much better, 20 degrees warmer than it was yesterday in the early morning hours, where we were just below freezing, and many of you saw freezing temperatures and probably some frost in your area, especially the outlying areas out away from town a little bit. Then you probably saw it turn into a pretty nice afternoon. We were right up near 60 degrees in a lot of spots. It was a really nice afternoon yesterday. It was kind of calmish, nice sunshine, but you had the hazy cirrus above it, creating some pretty nice pictures, I think, at times. So that's something to think of and think about. Yesterday was really a really nice day, and it seems like, well, I personally like the temperatures like that. I know a lot of you don't like them like that, and you do like warmer temperatures and hot weather. And that's what we have in the forecast, at least for a few days now. And it looks like it's going to kind of stay that way, at least for a bit. That's why I kind of put, if you were able to see some of the screens that I've put out so far, hot, and hot was what I kind of put on a couple of those, just to kind of tease people to come on in. But 53 degrees right now. Winds are out of the southwest. We'll call it west-southwest, 8 miles an hour, 9.5 miles visibility, so they're unrestricted out there. Maybe probably saw just a little bit of fog in a couple areas this morning, but nothing major that I saw that popped up. And around the state, you're talking 50 in Kokomo. Fort Wayne's 50 right now. Joliet up over in Illinois, 54. And down in Indianapolis, 49. And it was supposed to be colder out to our east this morning, comparative to the state of Illinois, where it was supposed to be a little warmer, and we were in between the two, and that's exactly what's happened so far this morning. Already rebounded to 53 degrees at 9 o'clock here in the early morning hours. So what does it look like? Well, when you look at the daily chart kind of through here, you can kind of see it looks pretty quiet. 78, 76, 79, 73, 72, 70. Those are your highs. Those are all good temperatures for this time of the year. They're all above normal. All the lows are above normal, except maybe the Saturday morning one where it's 46. That's probably pretty close to about where we should be for this time of the year. So that's about the only normal temperature, and that's why you get deceived a little bit by just looking at some of these numbers that come out on some of the computers. It also only shows one drop of rain on Friday, right? Well, if you really think about that, it shows one little drop right here. If you notice, if you're not watching real close, you'll miss that. There are chances of some rainfall here in the next couple of days, and we're going to get right into that and see some of those chances here over the next 24, even 48 hours of rainfall chances, although a bit better chance tonight and a lot less chance for tomorrow night, although it's going to be close to us for tomorrow night. Meanwhile, it looks like the southerly flow is going to stand right in there. 78 for today. Would not be surprised to see 80 at all. As you know, I like to bump a little bit. 76, probably 78 tomorrow, and maybe 81 on Thursday with lots of sunshine showing there. Then there's something's going to happen, obviously, right? Because our temperature is going to be a little bit cooler on Friday and Saturday, yet still very comfortable. 73, 72, 70 through the weekend. Very nice temperatures there. So Let's take a look outside first and see what we're seeing around the area. Let's go way out by Fowler. I like this camera. Oh, there's a truck on it today. And there's a car, so that's two. Remember, we're trying to go for the over and under for cars that we can visibly see. There might be something way off in the horizon, but I can't count it. So we got one truck, one car today. Lots of sunshine out there. That is very nice. We like to see that. Looks like somebody's hauling some junk in a junk truck right there. Big old semi full of junk truck right there on that one. So that's a pretty good out there. Let's go way up to Rensselaer. How about up in Rensselaer? What are they looking at right there? Well, there's the construction again. We see that, right? This is looking towards the south, which is must be just south of the junction there, right? We can see that there's a bit more traffic today than there was yesterday, but a little better than it was a couple days ago, which would have been Friday, I think. It's Tuesday today, right, guys? Yeah, so there's what we saw on that front. And then as we look just across the bridge, you'll be able to see some of the things that are happening there already this morning, too. Pretty quiet at the bridge itself in the overpass. Now, down the 231 junction, somebody did something really good with this camera because this thing is crystal clear compared to some of the others. Maybe they did some work on it. And right now, it is pointed towards the north. So you can see how the interstate goes up and turns off towards the north, right past the curve there and past the exit itself. I do see some high cirrus clouds out on the horizon, very much. There you go. You can see just a few of them there in different spots as we look a little bit on that camera. As we look towards the south, we can see more of the same, some wispy cirrus clouds. We'll see if those show up on the satellite very well. And then we go on down to 231, and we can see as we look to the south here, it looks like they've changed the camera around here on the 231 too, because we're seeing the lake today, and it's pointed to the south. Normally it's not pointed to the south, and we don't usually see it, but we don't see much of the sky, see? So that's the bummer on that part of it because I can't see what the clouds are there. So it means it'll take it out of the mix. Now you turn around, look back the other direction. I can see some of the cirrus clouds and some of the different clouds that are out there. I see a nice, glorious day here in God's country. It's looking beautiful this morning. Just about everybody looks nice and prime and looking great. State Road 18 looks nice. 18, just some clouds off in the horizon there. Up in the sky, pretty good. So cirrus clouds, I think at this point. We got looking back off towards the west here on State Road 43 as it crosses 65. Right in that spot, it happens to go a little bit of west to east, the interstate does. So you're just to the west and heading to the north here and heading to the south on this side, as you can see. So there's not much happening there. Same thing. They're not showing me much of the sky here. I gotta send in some money to these guys, get them to point it that way. But 25 is even worse. They're just pointed at the interstate itself. Must have been an accident or something there that they pointed at the ground for a while. It doesn't help us much, does it? State Road 26, there we go. Now you can see some of the wispy cirrus again. Very similar to yesterday, but the difference between yesterday and today is what direction is the wind flowing today, right? The wind flow today is going to be much more favorable for much even warmer temperatures. Yesterday, very little wind flow, and the temperature stayed pretty much similar, and we pushed up to near 60. That was about it. Here you can see the clouds a little bit better on the Dayton camera. Looking now, this would be looking back towards the south, right? Here we go, back towards the south. And you can see pretty thick in some places down south of Lafayette. And then we get down to Frankfort, and we start talking about Frankfort and State Road 28. And what I do see is I see some water in the area next to the road, right, towards the interstate. And I see some dark patches, but I still don't see the puddles like we saw last week, right, where it was really thick in those spots. And they have changed that camera angle. There you go. There's the truck stop on that view. Let's look in close to town. Let's go up on the northwest side of Lafayette, on West Lafayette, and you can see looking really good up there by the Walmart. Very nice out by the airport here, looking towards the campus. And then you got the River Road, which has had a couple bit. I don't know if it's moving around or if it's just a camera issue there on that. And then back out by the freeway there on. Not the freeway, but back by the mall. All right, looking at the mall picture. And let's look. We got one more camera way out by Kokomo. And Logansport, this one is in. There it is. And yeah, this is a bad time of the morning. It looks straight back in towards the sun, so we know we're looking towards the east as you're coming in on, is that State Road 24? I think it's State Road 24 you come in on there. So not too bad of a morning at all. Let's take a look at that on the satellite picture, and sure enough, half the country is pretty quiet, isn't it? Maybe more than that. As a matter of fact, it looks like you got some showers and storms trying to rumble in Texas and moving into Louisiana. Maybe something coming in over Canada. But remember, we had a big draping frontal boundary across down through here and up through this general area yesterday, and we have to keep an eye on that over today, because we're going to be seeing some frontal boundary like this is right what we're connecting to right as of now. So I would take it and kind of draw it kind of like this and like that, right? That's the kind of thing. So there's some kind of front all the way through there. Even though we're not seeing cloud cover in the center portion of it, we are seeing stuff. And of course, here's the cirrus clouds picking up pretty easily on some of the satellite pictures. Out on the west coast, it's a little, they got a pretty good storm out near Seattle, but not much happening for Southern California, and not much happening for our east coast right now today. Looking pretty quiet for them. Looks like they're going to have a pretty good day in store for most of the Carolinas and a lot of the East Coast itself. It does look pretty good. Let's take a look and let's go in a little closer. Let's go into one of the regional sectors here closer into us, pick out a few more of the clouds. Lafayette is right here, right there on that little spot, and I'll leave it there just for a moment. We can see why we saw some cirrus on the cameras, right? You can see all the wispy cirrus in different places. They're not even that high. They're probably a lower cirrus here because you got much higher clouds off towards the east and off to the northeast. So if I took that same boundary and I put it here, we're doing something like this, right? We know we have some kind of effect somewhere in that area that's doing something along those lines right through there for today. So what are we worried about anything like that? Well, normally I'd be saying right here is the stationary portion of it, but stationary portions can push north with the warm front, south with the cold front or colder areas, and they can just wander in different areas like this at times. It's funny. Over the years, analyzing charts, you'll come through and you'll have a stationary front in one spot, and then the next chart it'll be like this, and you'll think that's okay. And then 6 hours later, you'll come in and it'll be over here instead, right? Those are the kind of things you get with stationary frontal boundaries. They're more just bumps in the atmosphere, but they can create showers. They can create some thunderstorms from time to time, and that looks like the kind of deal we're going to get into today, is getting into potential showers and thunderstorms with the old frontal boundary as it goes across, becomes stationary, and then goes across back out over to the west, and we start to see something develop out there maybe later on. Meanwhile, we're going to have a nice southerly flow and southwesterly flow, and it's going to keep us high and dry. Let's switch over to the radar real quick here just to see what's going on. We're not going to see much on this at all. Obviously, you see something back up over Canada, back up over here. That's where some of those clouds are. We don't see anything in the Midwest or in the Great Plains at all. This is all ground clutter being picked up by the satellites. That's all that is right now. I don't see anything there. Maybe some fog possibly out over Lake Michigan in there showing up. It's pretty cool that radar is picking up fog over the lake. You don't see that a ton, but you do still see some lake effect. Look at that, showers or snow coming off, one or the other, off of Lake Huron. There you can still see it streaming into Canada right there. So the lakes still have some effect, although they're becoming very limited comparatively speaking, because we think of lake effect snow as more than anything else, right? We don't think of rain, but rain showers are a possibility too during those time frames, and what we would see is mostly in the winters when we really think about it. But the lake does still have an effect on us just about all year round, one way or the other. We're kind of just on the outer boundaries of where the lake has its effects. It's obviously much closer up here, surrounding the lake is where the most of the effects are. But at times with good winds, we can see effects all the way down to here like this, right? Or we might see, say, Lake Erie comes along here and they'll blow snows all the way down into central Ohio or central Pennsylvania. Is a possibility also. So that's something to keep in mind, right? Let's go in one more time. Let's go in all the way into the subsector, and let's just take a look at the cloud cover. Well, there we are on that one. I forgot we were on the satellite. I want to change back to the satellite picture. Let's go. Bam. Boom. All right, so there's the cloud phase, right? Okay, let's change it to a visible shot and see what we're getting now. We're starting to get about half a good pictures of our satellite shots in the visible this time of the morning. You just don't get a lot, but you do see a lot of the cirrus a little higher in the atmosphere, picking up a little easier, and then you see how it gets brighter and brighter and brighter as we go through the period, as the sun comes along and the sun rises in different places, and you start to see some of the, the showers out to our northeast of us, out over Lake Erie, Lake Huron, that kind of thing out there. And you can almost run a frontal boundary kind of like that. Just to the south of it is where everything is popping up, at least right as of right now, for if you wanted to try to really put a frontal boundary in there at all. So that's kind of the way that looks, at least at the moment. That's where we see it. That's where I've got it. We'll come back to the picture again probably late. Let me swap it out into the there we go, day cloud phase. This is one I like. You guys know this. The reason is for some reason the blue ground I pick up easier than with the clouds over it than I do the other one, and it enhances some of the higher clouds a little easier, so you can see those at night pretty easily, right? The high clouds. That's why I do that. That's why I like it myself. I'm colorblind. Yeah, I don't know how I became a weatherman being colorblind, but you got to be able to see some colors from time to time, and this is one of those where I can change the enhancement and see whatever I would like to see during that time frame. All right, so that's what we're looking at least on that front. Let's switch over. Let's go straight into it. Different forecasts. We're going to go straight into the model. We're going to take a look at that, and we're going to try to figure out where is the frontal boundary going to be today, and how effective is it towards us. Now, here's the 6Z. This is the latest long-range model run, and we're going to take a look straight at it and try to move it across here. And here's where we are this morning. There's 8 o'clock. Here's 9 o'clock. What do I want to see? Well, look at the flow first off. Look where the flow is coming from. And we talked about this yesterday. The flow is coming from warmer temperatures down here right towards Lafayette. So that's a good thing for us if we want some warmth, right? And then we move along. Here we are. There's 10 o'clock, 11, 12. Everything looks good. And now look at this. Late this afternoon, we start to see a shower or two pop up near the lake. Could be some of the effects from the lake. Right here at this point, you could probably take the frontal boundary and go like this, or maybe it's even farther north, trailing out of the low way up to the north and coming like this, right? And we're still getting some kind of movement in this system. But we have a flow still very warm coming out south of it, and north of it we have somewhat cooler air up there if you put some temperatures on there, all right? So we see some showers popping up, and here we are at like 4 o'clock, and we're like, okay, hey, they're up near the Cubs game. Now, I don't know if the Cubs game's a night game or a day game today, but looks like they could be getting some effects for the Cubs game there later today. And then 5 o'clock, it kind of goes through. 6 o'clock, that's through Chicago. Lafayette is right here, all right, right here. If you put a little dot on there, if I could leave it there, I would, right? That's where Lafayette is. And then you see that's at, what time is that? That is at 6 o'clock. And then at 7 o'clock, it's right there to our north. At 8 o'clock, it's getting right on the doorstep. Right? And by 9, it's kind of on top of us by that time frame. It's going to be cut me close to band practice tonight, guys. Don't know if I'm bringing the slingshot or not. We're going to have to figure that out. Don't want to drive home in the rain. But there you go. By 9 o'clock, it shows the line of thunderstorms right on top of us by this time frame. Now, we go forward with it. It continues. They kind of last. You get a couple dreary little thunderstorms behind it too. And by about 11 o'clock, everything's done. And then, there you go. You see another shower or two pop up. But by early morning, there you go, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, everything's pretty much gone and past us. And we just see there, just every once in a while, you see a chance for a shower. And it kind of goes down, it falls apart, gets into the early morning hours tomorrow morning. And it's like, here we are at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning when we're talking again to each other. Tomorrow about 9 o'clock. And it looks pretty good. The little tail end of the front is kind of coming down here. It's washed out. But remember how we looked yesterday. See these bends in here? I'm looking for bends, the noses, right? The nose kind of where the next system might be. Where's the warm front on the next system? And the cold front from the old system's down here. And somewhere in here, we have a frontal boundary. It's probably between the high that's right here, right? And right there, and it probably goes just like that, right? And just south of that is where a lot of the thunderstorms, if they're going to pop up, are going to pop up. So what in my common sense mind says to me right here is, okay, I've got this front here. It's stationary all through there, and then out here it's becoming a warm front. Well, in the warm front sector, it's going to want to go this direction. The cold front sector around the high, the flow is this way, right? Wants to go south, and in between is where that stationary frontal boundary is. As it does that and it moves to the north, it's putting pressure on the frontal system with moisture, and we have a chance for the thunderstorms to continue. And that's what we're seeing here on the tail end of the cold front way out here. And we watch this go through, and you can see, boom, right there tomorrow morning. This is actually noon tomorrow. It looks like there's a chance of showers start to pop up again right on top of us, and then they sag to the south. We're fighting between all the boundaries now right here. And I know this is not some dramatic thing where there's thunderstorms and tornadoes and all that. No, we're just fighting between the boundaries. One's trying to take over the warm front, right, that sector. The cold front doesn't want to give up, so to speak, and in between there's just this bump in the road, and this bump in the road though is starting to get the effects of some of the warmth to it again, and it starts to get some of those showers in there. This looks more like a showery, maybe an isolated thunder around noon tomorrow, and then it sags south of us down to Crawfordsville, keeps on going through most of the morning, and it's just around us. See how it continues to arc back up towards where the warm front is now moved. Now you see the nose out here on this. The warm front is moved all the way out here. The stationary front's here, and the cold front's right in here somewhere. And so this area is starting to pop up along the frontal boundary, right, which we would drape right in here somewhere, maybe even back up here. And so as it's running up that hill, that little bit of a hill, it's starting to create some more showers just to our south tomorrow during the evening hours. That's 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, then 9, 10, and it just stays just off of us, and it falls apart again as we get into the evening hours tomorrow night. Right now, the new model will give us a little more indication on that, and we'll zoom in on that a little bit closer in another 20 minutes or so when we have more of that model in and it covers all of this period. Although it probably covers all this, it doesn't go all the way out till tomorrow evening yet, so this is what it doesn't do. And that's where we're really interested in for sure. All right, so let's zoom in real quick then. I'll go in and we'll check out temperatures on this real fast today. Let's see what we're going to have here. Surface temperatures. There you go, guys. There's where it is tomorrow, but where is it today? All right, we're worried about today. Here we are. 14Z is 10 o'clock, all right, 56 degrees. What's it saying we are right now? Let me see. It says, got my little thing in the way. There it is, 57 degrees, so pretty close. We're not too far off. We're a degree or two warmer already this morning. All right, so that's what we're seeing already this morning. We're a degree or two warmer than this already. So that makes me think, possibly 80, but the little bit of cirrus may keep us from hitting that mark, I think, today. We'll have to see. And then as we go through the day, the southerly flow continues. Now, if you look at the isobars, they're going just like this, right? The wind barbs have the little bit of there's about a 15-degree deflection, generally speaking, because of the rotation of the Earth, right? There's about a 15-degree, roughly, deflection most of the time where the wind is not exactly with these isobars. But you notice the general idea is the same, right? Winds are coming out of the southwest. And what does that do for us? That warms us up, doesn't it? So as we go through the afternoon, here we are. We are at, that's noon. It's already got us up to 64, so I'd say we'll probably be pushing 70, 68 by 1 o'clock, 71, 73, 75, 76. Does it get to 77? It does not want to push us to 77, but it does. Just as yesterday, we see that there's maybe even a little pocket of 80s trying to push around just like that. And this showed this yesterday for us too, but it doesn't look as pronounced this morning. So, and that could be because the cirrus is still hanging out, moving in this direction right here. I would say the back of the cirrus is probably about this point. Right now it's back about here, right on the satellite picture. By this afternoon, it'll be like just over us. So maybe it's got just enough effect to keep us from getting to that 80 mark. And the model might be pretty good on those numbers of 76. So today I'd probably stick closer to that 78 mark. Don't be surprised, though, if a couple of you hit 80 here or there, especially away from town out in the boonies somewhere where there's, you can get a little warmer at times out there. That's a possibility, all right? So there you go. There's the temperatures, at least on that through today, all right? So we're going to be in the upper 70s to near 80. Nice and toasty, warm, a little more muggy, right? We're still south of the frontal boundary, and then we watch, you can see the showers coming through tonight, right? There you are at 8 o'clock. The temperature is dropping from the 70s into the 60s pretty quickly. I'm going to be cutting it close with my slingshot this evening. And then we're going to be, tomorrow morning, it's only going to be down to the upper 50s again. Look at that. And that's about it. 57 for tomorrow morning. And then we rebound again tomorrow very nicely. Now, the flow isn't southwesterly tomorrow. We notice here we're up to 70 by about 2 in the afternoon, 74, 75, and then there's those showers again right here. Notice how they drop the temperature there. And we have a southerly flow, southwesterly flow here, right? And for us, look at how weak it is. It's very weak. There's not much speed here. This is 3 knots. This is 5 knots, right? That kind of thing. So there's not enough wind speed to pull in a lot of temperatures. Plus, it's kind of, in a way, got to go around this frontal boundary. Here, they've even kind of drawn a nose in on it. If you kind of go like this, you can kind of put the frontal boundary in there pretty easily. So now your warm front is out here, kind of stationary, goes like this, and then becomes a cold front again, right? That's kind of what you're seeing in there, and you can kind of draw that in pretty easily. You still have winds straight down the lake, even though they're very light for tomorrow. So this means the temperature won't be quite as warm tomorrow. And so expect a couple to maybe 4 or 5 degrees cooler. It'll be a whopping 75 tomorrow, right? 74, 75, somewhere in that range for tomorrow afternoon. And then this goes out towards the next morning, and we drop off only into the 50s again, upper 50s, which is, again, way above normal. All these temperatures are above normal. That is for sure. Let's see what kind of windy gusts can we get out of this system as the thunderstorms come through. All right, so let's take a look at this. We're going to watch these develop. So here we go today. During the day, we're pretty gusty most of the day, helping pull the southwesterly and warm air up here pretty quick. So not too bad, 25, 30, even gust of 28 right here, right? So that's 30 miles an hour to 32 right in there. We see the thunderstorms coming down across the lake, but they're not severe. They just don't have all of the features that are needed for severe. And I'll show you that in just a moment. They go through right there, right? And then they just kind of knocks our wind down once it goes through, and then it starts to reestablish itself overnight for a bit. And then you can kind of, wow, look at, you can draw in right here where you see everything happening. Look at, you got winds coming this direction, you got winds coming this direction. You got winds coming here, you got winds coming here. In between is your stationary frontal boundary that's just wavering. It's just moving along. Well, sometimes it's here, sometimes it's here. But we can watch that movement, right? So we're seeing it right there. And watch how it sags to the south, boom, boom. As it got farther to the south, the next day, when we're looking at thunderstorms forming, they're forming farther south of where it's become stationary, right? Today, it's stationary up here, and we're going to get thunderstorms down to move down towards us, right? Tomorrow, it's stationary almost over us or just to our north, and we just hang out of the thunderstorms. So if it becomes stationary and stays up here a bit more, right? These are the things you got to look at as a forecaster, right? Say it does it up here instead of right here. That means the thunderstorms are going to form over us instead of south of us, right? See, those are the kind of things. That's how you can be off by just 10, 20 miles, and you can have a thunderstorm and not have a thunderstorm. Or you click it on your thing that you see during the day, and it says no thunderstorms, no rain, and all of a sudden you're getting poured on. That's because the model doesn't pick up that the rain's only 20 miles from you, and it can't verify yes or no whether that's actually going to happen. It just says 10% chance of rain. That's what it says. All right, that's why we get into some of those scenarios. But you can see it in the wind very easily here. Very nice that we took a look at that. And look at how the winds they pop pretty good all around the system itself and stationary here. And let's see what happens towards the end. Oh, you get a little bit of a blow off from some of the bigger thunderstorms, but then the winds die out, and then we're all southerly here. Here we go, right? And then up here, look at, we're even starting to change easterly over here. So the warm frontal portion of it's going to start taking over the next couple of days after that. And that will help influence what we're going to be seeing over that time frame. All right, so don't expect a lot from those thunderstorms this evening, but they will be out there, and they're just going to be kind of on the lower side. All right, for your potential there on those. Let's see. Let's go to the Storm Prediction Center real quick here, and then here's today. That's what they've got. They don't even have any high category risk for today. They just have us in a general thunderstorm category for today. That is it. And then tomorrow, look what happens tomorrow. Oh, I think I got I got to change actually out of this. Let me drop this off here. Sorry about that, guys. I can't change the day. There we go. And then tomorrow, same thing, just cause in general. But the pattern on the model says it'll be just south of us, right? And stuff is starting to brew out here. So fairly quiet in the atmosphere, really, around the eastern half of the United States, but still a potential for a couple thunderstorms and showers popping up in different places, all right? So that's something to keep in mind if you're trying to do some outdoor activities yourself over the next period and you want to be doing something. That's the thunderstorms tomorrow, and then the thunderstorms the day after that will be a little bit farther, or today over us, tomorrow just south of us. And then if you go out to the third day, it's starting to show you the next big system brewing here. Let's see, today's Tuesday, Wednesday. This is Thursday, right? And we've been talking about the system coming in Friday and into Saturday to change our weather for a bit on that period. If you've been with me for the last day or two, we've been talking about that a little bit. So, all right, so let's go back to the model real quick. Let's see what kind of changes, what the 12Z's got for us. Okay, the 12Z's got 66% of the model, and let's keep it right here on the precipitation, and let's see what happens with that as it comes in. Where does it put the thunderstorms? Okay, the first thing I'm looking at is I can see up here is a low pressure system this morning of some type. It's very weak. It's in that kind of west-east mode. It's not a big kicker low kind of system that we're worried about, right? It's not that at all, but it's up here. All right, and when we look up there along the low, got to change my colors here. There's a low there, very minor low. You might even just call it a troughing area right there easily. It's basically where the stationary front is, all right? Well, watch what that happens to that a little bit, and let's see how the thunderstorms pop up. We know they're going to be later this afternoon. Here's noon. Let's see if we can get this thing to move. 1 o'clock. 2 o'clock, you start to see stuff popping over here. We know our flow is coming in here and forcing things up into the stationary boundary, right? And even maybe frontal where you can start to see the warm front coming in out to the west. And we see thunderstorms popping up. Here we are at 19Z, all right? And here's 20Z, here's 4 o'clock. So now it's north of Chicago on this run, all right? This 6-hourly run has the showers popping up north of Chicago. I think if we went back, and let me see if I can change it real quick. 6Z, there, see, it has just a hedge farther south. We're only talking 20 miles here. We're not talking much different at all between the two, all right? But there is potential there that it does show it that it's moving, at least on that for us. Let's go back to our run now, back to the 12Z, and we see it there. I don't see as much out here either, right? A little bit less. So let's see what happens on the timing on this now. So here we go. There's 9 o'clock. Okay, so there's 10 o'clock Z. That is 6 o'clock this evening. All the thunderstorms are still up by Lake Michigan. If the Cubs do have a night game, they'll be clearing out just about right. Let's see if it continues south, right? It should, right? There we go, 7. Here's 8 o'clock. And now the thunderstorms are a little bit more oriented over towards our east-northeast, right? And by 8 o'clock on the previous run, it was right on our northern boundary. So we're only talking 20 miles, but it does have it a little slower. And then it really doesn't get us by 9 o'clock. There you go. And then by 10, it pushes it in here, and then there's just a little chance by 11. So it's looking like it's wanting to push most of the storms a little bit farther out to the east compared to the previous model. And then it kind of almost misses us and then kind of tries to wash through us. Let's say there's 2 in the morning, a couple scattered showers around right there, right? Lafayette's right here. Right there is Lafayette. So if that throws you off, let me go back a little bit, a couple. So the previous model, let's go to 9 o'clock. Or 8 o'clock. There's 8 o'clock. It had this band of showers farther out here and had it right on the northern portions of Tippecanoe County at 8 o'clock tonight. Okay. Then by 9 o'clock, it had it over us. But you notice here, there's the band of thunderstorms is out towards our northeast, right? And maybe there's a slight risk of a shower there. But not much. 10 o'clock still quiet. 11 o'clock is there's still a chance. And then about 12, we start to pick up some more showers on the backside of this, and then maybe a shower or thunderstorm comes through early in the morning, goes south of us. Let's see what it does. Oh, there it is. So it's been slower with it, right, compared to what it was. Now look what's happened for tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. We now have a little band of showers right over Lafayette, right, or very close to the southern half of the city, right? And what did it do with it on the previous model? It had it down here by Crawfordsville, right? Remember, I was talking about that being there. And then that does the same thing. It pops and then moves to the south, but it's on us or very close to us tomorrow morning. So that's more iffy at this point. And then that'll fine-tune itself by this evening too. And then tomorrow it kind of falls apart, but you can still see the same threat. Here comes the warm front. Right there's the stationary front going through with showers south of it here during the day tomorrow, right? And same kind of scenario. Look at that. Even some more pop up. And then there we go. Tomorrow night, tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock, right along the frontal boundary. Now, we know we've been pumping some warmth this way, right? But some kind of low is forming on the frontal boundary. The warm front is trying to get its effects in here. And that thunderstorm pops up tomorrow right on top of us or right near us right there. That is 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And that's a better time for thunderstorms. And you could see how with the warmth coming up that we might, now you know why we might be a little cooler tomorrow also, if with the moisture being right there in and around us. What do we get out of this? Well, what we get out of this right now is we know with the frontal boundary just kind of bouncing around near us, right? There's a potential for a thunderstorm here or there anytime it's near us at the wrong time of the period, right? So I've been telling you guys about that for several days now, the stationary boundary and how they set up and if they become west to east and east to west and that kind of look. So, you know, what do you see? The vast majority of the time we're good with our weather. Occasionally we have a chance for some showers this evening. Looks like maybe early tomorrow morning is the best time frame. That we might, and then early morning tomorrow, we might pop up right on top of us and go south or just south of us and continue to go south, right? Mostly showers. And then tomorrow night, we might have even another chance like 4 or 5 in the afternoon tomorrow going into the evening hours. So, but they're very hit and miss. Very hit and miss. It looks like the best chances will be south of town tomorrow morning, right? We see that right at towns and going south. And that's the better chances. And then tomorrow afternoon, maybe the same thing. At or near Lafayette itself, and then heading south pretty quickly as it sags. But you can see the warm front trying to edge in here. You can kind of see where the low was in the cold front here, and maybe it's stationary in between here, or maybe it's even stationary over here, and a low is just forming over here. But it's got to be something we'll keep an eye on here. No severe weather chances, though, at least at this point. I don't see it in here. There's no jet stream running over this spot to help enhance and give it a twist, more of a twist in the atmosphere. And when you realize for severe weather, you have to have twisting all the way up in the atmosphere to get tornadoes out of it. A thunderstorm on its own hand, when it collapses, it can create its own wind and microbursts and macrobursts. And that's where you get some of that straight line winds that break down things. And so that can happen too. But in these kind of thunderstorms, since they're not that big in the first place, they're not that big of a threat. But still, wind is always a threat with a thunderstorm, and obviously some heavy rain. It doesn't look like there's any hail involved with these systems at all, at least at this point. Let's go back and take a look at that, maybe in the Storm Prediction Center. Will it let me go back? Nope, I got to get out. There we go. Let's go back a day. All right, so here's today. What's it say? Wind. It doesn't even say wind or hail on there. It just says there's a chance for a thunderstorm. And that's day 2. What's it say for tomorrow or today? Same thing. No chances. They're less than 5% chance. So it's just a slight risk for thunderstorms today. And then again tomorrow, right? So, and we're in and near the stationary frontal boundary. So we're going to be in and near a chance for thunderstorm. You could go out almost any time by this evening and through tomorrow during the day and into the evening and maybe run into something. But generally speaking, most of us are going to be high and dry during that entire period. All right, so let's take a quick look at the satellite picture, see if we're picking up any more. We see more of the same still right now. It's currently 57 degrees outside, 58, just updated at 9:38, and it is 9:38. And we still, look at this, it actually updated some of the temperatures as it's getting more data in. It says it's going to be warmer on Thursday. Remember I said 80 on Thursday and 70. I wouldn't be surprised if we're at the upper 70s. I think it was showing 75. It went up 1 degree, staying the same today. And then this is bumped up just like I told you it would. And then there we go. We got 70, low 70s, and we'll probably be mid 70s, especially these 2 days when maybe not. Maybe we're starting to get an influx because we're going to see some cooler temperatures on Saturday morning. But that's the only temperature in all of this forecast period right here from today all the way through Sunday that is actually at normal. Is 46 degrees by the end of the month. That's about what our lows should be. All these are 50s and 60s for our lows, and all the 70s and 80s for our highs are far above normal, at least 10 degrees, as we should be in the mid to upper 60s for the end portions of April, just to give you a heads up on that, all right? All right, let's go back to the models. Let's go back to the runs. Let's go farther out now. All right, I know you guys like to go farther out. You want to see what's going to be happening in the future. Let's just go straight out to the GFS, but we got to go out to a bigger portion of that to take a look at it so we can get the bigger picture on this, all right? So here it is here in the first few hours, right? This is Thursday 00 Zulu, which is Wednesday at 8 o'clock in the evening. Remember, 4-hour difference. We're 4 hours behind. So I'm constantly trying to get that number in my head. It comes to you eventually, but you still make mistakes as you're talking to people about it. So there it goes. It shows the scattered showers kind of in our area Wednesday into Thursday. Here comes the storm for Friday, right? Bam. Let's see the time frame. This is 9Z Friday. It's kind of trying to fall apart out to our west, all right? And then 12Z, that's 8 o'clock in the morning, Friday morning for us. Here comes the frontal boundary right here, all right? And then it kind of goes through Friday, keeps some scattered. There's that scattered light showers and kind of drizzly stuff behind the front again that we've seen the last few. You don't always see that. A lot of times, sometimes you see the front go through, just clears everything out and the blue skies come out. But right now, the GFS keeps wanting to put moisture behind it, and it's been correct most of the time. You can see where the frontal boundary, yes, when you draw it on a map, the front's back here somewhere, right? Like this, right? So that's where we're getting some of this. Let me draw it on there again real quick. So the low is here, and officially the cold front's kind of like back here, going back to this low back here, and all your storms are way out in front of the system right now. So you're getting then scattered rains and showers behind it like this in this whole entire area. So Friday could be pretty rainy at this point based on this, looking at this, even though it's 4 days out. That's something to keep in mind. We'll see if there's any showers behind the system, but right now that's kind of the way it's looking like it wants to do. Is keep those showers. So then it moves off, right? And then the showers and the low that were to the southwest down over here, now they want to make themselves known. Here we go like this, right? So let's see where this goes. And it just stays south of us right now. Kind of pushes it up near us and then stays south. And we start to get the influence of flow from the north. I see the 540 line popping up here again on Saturday into Sunday. So now we're all the way through Saturday. We went through Saturday pretty quick. And this is what I'm going to say right now. We've got to keep an eye on this low right here. While right now it says it's going to stay south of us and all the moisture is going to be kept for southern Indiana, this is something to watch out for because this is the one that can tap into southern moisture and it can bring it up to us pretty easily from there. Lafayette is right here. Right here. Bing, bing. All right. So we move along with the system. Sunday looks really nice. It's going to be a little chillier, right? We're only have a high of like 70, still above normal, but still very nice, right? And then we keep moving along, and then we start to bring in our next system. Now we're into Monday. Here's Monday morning. Here comes, now we've got a low right here, right? You can kind of see where the warm front is here. Overrunning the warm front is showers that are coming in here through Illinois, and they're wanting to kind of head in this direction. So we're right here, and we're in an area where we're going to get clipped off. The cold front goes way back here, and then we'll start to see some showers associated with that along that out in front of the system there too. So let's watch it as it comes through. You notice right here, it wants to bring, there's two distinct lines of thunderstorms with this system right now, right? One is more warm frontal boundary with the overrunning going way up into Minnesota. All right, so you have that flow. Then you have the front, the cold front is here, and the warm front is out here, but you may have an occlusion area wrapped around anywhere in here like this, right? And then there's a secondary trough here trying to become a cold front, and this is a complicated system here, but it doesn't have, look at this, doesn't have a ton of moisture with it, right? Right now. So this is 11 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning, and you've got one line of thunderstorms right here, maybe a second line right here, but it's a decent storm, but it's not tapped in fully. So what happens with that low to the south? Let's go back one picture real quick. Remember I said we have the cold front here, or an old cold front with an occlusion right here, and then another line of thunderstorms here. Somewhere in this area, there's going to be a low pressure system pop up, and sure enough, it's going to pop up right about there. Watch what happens on the next chart. Bam, there it is. You see it? They're kind of a mesoscale minor system, but then the main low up here becomes not one, but two lows with a very minor little minor perturbation in the atmosphere moving through right down here. So very complicated system with this right here on next Monday into Tuesday. Will be exciting to see what we're going to have, and we'll have some really good talks about it Monday. Actually, we'll probably have some good talks about it on Friday, right? Because Friday we'll have to really pinpoint. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Mark it down on your calendar. It's Tuesday today. I said we'd be talking about it on Friday. Let's see if by Friday it hasn't moved it all the way to Tuesday or into Wednesday by that time frame. Let's watch that one, see what happens. See if that theory kind of sticks along. The farther out it is, the more it has a tendency to move it downstream a little bit farther, all right? Okay, so let's see. That's a pretty big storm right there that goes through Monday into Tuesday. Lots of rain with that one, maybe thunderstorms, maybe some severe weather. Then Tuesday, late Tuesday into Wednesday, here comes the big old high right behind the system. There she is. There she blows, Captain. Captain, she's coming out, and then the winds are coming out of the north, right? We got a clockwise flow around the high. They're trying to go right just like that, except in the atmosphere around a high, the flow is out away from the high, right? Just like this. So it's taking stuff away from the center of it. In a low pressure system, the flow is into the low, right? Like this, and that's why everything gets pulled in and strengthens the low. That's kind of how the flow. That's just a generic way to look at it. But next Wednesday into Thursday, big old high trying to take over all of the Midwest. Looks like it'll be some really good weather for a day or two there at least. Very nice. Then we have another big storm. So we had one on Monday into Tuesday-ish. Then Wednesday and Thursday look pretty good, and here comes Thursday night into Friday. Another good solid storm. This one right here is your low. You have all kinds of overrunning moisture in this system. You have thunderstorms popping. The low is south of us. That means good for us. It means your thunderstorms are probably going to be something like this and south. All right? That doesn't mean you can't see a thunderstorm up here. This will mostly be rain, okay? Let's see what that thing does when it goes by. Here's what I'm worried about. You see the 540 line right here, this blue line coming across there. That's the thickness line. That's the one we look for usually north. You notice here, some snow. North of that, a lot of times we get snow, and south of it, we usually get some rain. Let's see what it does, if it does anything to us. Are we going to get a cold push in the early portions of May? It's trying to come down here. It does, at the very least, look like we're going to have a morning or two next weekend, again, where we'll have to worry about frost. From my TV days, I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure for some reason May 13th still keeps standing out in my mind as to when we generally get our last freeze. On average every year is like May 13th. Believe it or not. I know a lot of us don't think of it that way, but a lot of times in those first couple weeks of May, we can get freezing temperatures. And if I remember right, it's May 13th. If somebody has the number there, you let me know when the average last time we hit below freezing, all right? So that's and it shows right there, May 2nd in the morning, we might have some cold temperatures, and then there's a big old high over the top of us again, right? And that high was right about here when we were talking about the cold temperatures, which meant it was pulling cold air down, right? And now the high is going to shift off this direction on that Sunday. So that Sunday morning, boom, right there, when it's dead calm and the high is almost right on top of us, it's right here, it's real close to us. It doesn't show much of a flow around it at all, wind-wise. It'll be dead calm that morning, and that morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, we could see it. So next Saturday and Sunday, watch out for cold temperatures. We'll see what happens with that. Good. That's a ways away, guys. It's a week and a half away, so that's a long time for things to set up, and we'll see what happens. But remember, the bigger the system, the easier the model picks it up, the farther out it goes also. All right, so here comes another big system, finally on the Tuesday and the Wednesday following that. Now we're talking May 4th and 5th, 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today, and that's another big barn burner right here, right? Low, you got a system here. You got overrunning over the warm front and the low. You probably got thunderstorms to the south. Both these lows, though, that we've seen are kind of south of us right now, right? The early one wasn't, but the next two were. And then it kind of just goes by us to the south. Trajectory means a lot with these things. If they come up this way, we're talking thunderstorms. If we go this way, we're talking mostly rain. And if they happen to do something goofy like this, you can see a little bit of everything. From nothing to thunderstorms, So that's something to keep in mind with those. All right, and we move that system along. There we go. Next Tuesday into Wednesday, and then it kind of clears itself out. And I could see some cool temperatures there too, because now your flow is coming this way. It's coming from the northeast, way out on May 7th, though. That's a long ways out, guys. That's definitely a long ways out. So we're not going to worry too much about that right now. Let's switch it over to temps real quick, just to take a look, see if we can pinpoint some of those. I think what we're going to see here when we look through this, all right, is we're going to see temperatures above normal most places this week, right? We've talked about this yesterday. Warm temperatures this week, about normal next week to just above, and the following week looks the same, except the following week had some cold spots in it, right? So let's see if we can pinpoint some of those real quick here. All right, so here we are this week. We're warm. I'm going to go through this pretty quick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to advance to the morning, where I think the morning might be, right, in the morning. So what's this saying? Say like Thursday this week. Shows us with highs, usually 21Z is about where your high is going to be. Shows a high somewhere in the mid to low 70s. Not bad on Thursday. But Friday morning bounces down to about 60. That's not bad. And then Friday afternoon, we're still back up into the low to mid 70s. Not bad at all. Highs right about here, right, by that time frame. The front has done its damage, but we're watching the system still like meandering around south of us, so to speak. All right, so then we continue on. We see the influx of some cold air coming in. So Saturday morning, 54. And then what does it do Saturday afternoon? Now we're going to be around 70, it looks like, on Saturday afternoon. You can see some flow of some warmth right here, trying to get in here. But now you can kind of see it. There's a low here, right? And then the warm front's here, and then the whole stationary front is right in here. Right, just kind of like that is what you can almost draw it in there if you wanted to, something along those lines. All right, very close. Warm, stationary, and since the stationary front is south of us, our weather in here is a little bit cooler than it is south of the stationary front. Generally speaking, right? That's what you're going to see when you see your highs and your lows. Now, this is probably rain-packed. That's why it's colder down here than it is up here. But that's what you can see, right? Because the stationary is sagging here, so the rain is usually south of it, and that's where all the rain's going to be. And we looked at that a little bit ago. All right, so let's continue on. So Sunday morning, we got a low of 52. We're in a little pocket, 51 maybe there. In the afternoon, we're back up to 70. So every day this week, we're 70 or warmer. Maybe 1 or 2 days even 80, with today and tomorrow being the possibilities. Still in the mid 50s, and we should be right around 41 to 45. So we're 10 degrees above normal next week. And then there's a day with some rain there, Monday into Tuesday, and our temperature stays a bit chillier. It still shows 70 at Monday night, but very close to because of the rains, it's going to be bothering our temperatures. So Tuesday morning is 54, but look at this. We start to see some 40s popping up out to our west again. So next week, I think we're talking near normal. Maybe not in the mornings, but definitely during the days. Look at this. So there we are. Wednesday morning next week, it's 49, right? By the afternoon, it's only up around 60, 65. That's about getting close to normal, to just above. The morning hours, it's still fairly warm, just a little bit above normal. In the afternoon next Thursday, still just a little bit above normal, but not too much, upper 60s. Then it's a little chilly on Friday. There's Saturday. Oh, there we go. Here's some of that cold. We knew the 540 line was coming up through here somewhere, right? So here is Saturday morning next week. So Friday, it's only going to be like 50 degrees in the afternoon, 55 next Friday. And then Saturday morning, it says we're going to be down to around 40, 43. See, look at this, though. There's some cold all the way down here, right? Look at that. There's a tongue of cold right there. So Sunday was the big day. Saturday's not too bad. Sunday morning, boom, what's it do here? And look at that, we have some 30s south of us. But at the moment, I don't see any like potential for freezing. That looks like it stays right through here, huh? And we'll take that. We don't mind that here in Lafayette if we kind of can stay away from it, at least as of now. So is there any more cold in it? As the high goes by, we stay chilly, but we just don't get cold. We're right around 60. We're in the mornings, we're 50. And then there's a system, remember the system's going by to our south, creating a big pocket of rain, and that pocket of rain shows colder temperatures. So like highs on Tuesday, May 5th, look to be really chilly, and are all around the system, it's chilly. See that? It's cold around it where all the rain is falling down around the system. It's 5 to 10 degrees colder. But still warm at night. We're still, most of these lows are above normal. Most of the highs are just above normal. But this week, way above normal. Next week, just above normal. And then the following week, more of the same, it looks like. Maybe more seasonal. Because by the time we get to the beginning of May, our high temperatures should be about 68 to 70, and our lows should be about 46. So they'll actually be right at seasonal 2 weeks from now. But lots of changes can happen between now and then, and hopefully we kind of stay forward with what we have, all right? Let's go back to the HER real quick. We're 100% in now on this. Let's see what it's showing, and go back to the rain real fast here. All right, so there we go. Because remember I said the stationary front's near us. We got to watch out, in, out. In most of us won't see rain most of the time, but showers will pop here and there. And because the stationary front is right, there's a warm sector, then it becomes stationary just to the north of us. Places just to the south of the stationary front want to pop up showers. And you've got a warm influence starting to try to push itself in. We already know we're warm here. So let's go back out real quick. We'll look at a real highlight. Matter of fact, let's go in close again real quick. We'll finish the day off with this. Here's the thunderstorms this evening popping up. There we go. 4 o'clock this afternoon, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. They're on our doorstep, but they're now shifting off to the northeast. By 9 o'clock, they're, here you are in Logansport, and you're like, wait, there's the thunderstorms. What's happening? Over towards Kokomo. But Lafayette's a little high and dry, maybe just a scattered light dinky shower here or there. All right. And because it cut off all this that was, yesterday it showed showers all the way out to here. Today it's only showing basically in this area, but most of your thunderstorms are going to be right in here, especially back here, this little swath back here. All right. And then as we move farther south, then by about 10 o'clock, maybe there's a scattered shower over us. 11 o'clock, there's just some stuff in the area. 12 o'clock, midnight, there you go. 1 o'clock in the morning, kind of falls apart. Everything sags. The front, you can see the warm front in the stationary is probably about right here. And there's just a scattered shower or two possible. And then in the morning hours, it's going to do the same thing. There we go. Oh, maybe pop up a shower right around Lafayette. And then it sags south of us. And then into the evening, as we get later in the day, here we are at 2 in the afternoon. We start to see showers popping up off to our east. And then we're in the area spot where now we're in the side of the warm front. And the stationary front going off like this and becoming just kind of a jumbled mess. It'll be hard to pick out. I think the model's picking it out a lot easier than we will, but the flow is trying to come this way, and the flow is trying to come this way on the system. So that's why you get a stationary front. They're fighting against each other, so to speak. And then it pushes it out to tomorrow night, and we seem like we're okay, right? So this is going to say no rain chances. But look at, guys, look how close this stuff is, all right? This is only, what is it down to Crawfordsville, 20, 30 miles? Yeah, that's it from anywhere you are. And then there's showers back into here even. But the model will say there's no rain, right? Because it doesn't indicate any. So hence the reason when you look at that stuff and it says no rain and sometimes it rains, that's why you're getting some of that. You're going to have some hit and miss in and out showers and thunderstorms the next couple of days in different spots. And some of you could see nothing, and some of you will see maybe 3 showers and 3 thunderstorms in that period, and you'll be like, wow, it did rain, like Brian said. And so then here we are tomorrow night. This is Wednesday night, and here we are at like 9 o'clock, and then 10 o'clock, there's a real good chance for a line of showers to move over us. It looks like developing at this point. It's right on top of us, and that lingers into the morning hours, right? And then the stationary front's falling apart, and I finally see a little bit of a nose of maybe the warm front, and the stationary's here, and then we start to get the influx there, and we'll see where the showers pop up on the last few hours of this. It's got 5 hours left. Now you notice what's happening now? They started going back to the north. The showers actually moved back to the north. Watch that. So in here, they're all right on top of us and moving south, right? And then we start to get the influence of the warm front a little more. Now they're stationary and start to move back to the north. All right, see that? So that's Wednesday night. And then we have scattered showers north of the warm front. And if you pinpoint the warm front, it's probably there. It's very diffuse. It's not something we can see real easy on there at all, is that warm front for tomorrow. All right, guys, so I wish I could pinpoint these a bit more. Sometimes we'll be able to. Maybe tomorrow we'll have a good influx on it. We'll really be able to tell exactly when a thunderstorm will be on us. But with these stationary fronts, it's very wishy-washy, you notice. And you just need to be in the wrong place, and you'll get three showers or 3 thunderstorms, and you're like, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He said most of us will be fine. Most of us are going to be fine throughout most of the period, but there's going to be an hour or two, and hopefully, like tonight's stuff, we have a kind of an idea that it's going to be northeast of us, but there'll be something settle over us maybe around midnight or so, right? And we'll have some showers, a couple hours either side of that potential. That's generally what it looks like. And then maybe it pops up again tomorrow afternoon right on top of us, and then tries to gently move to the south. And then tomorrow evening it gently moves back to the north. So when you're caught in any one of those kind of little waves, and remember I've told you the stationary front moves up and down like this a lot of times, that's exactly what we're getting when it's over the top of us. So chances are there. 78 for the high today. Don't be surprised if we hit 80. 76 tomorrow. I like that number because of the in and out business of it. But look at this. It doesn't even show rain on Wednesday on here. So Thursday, up to 80, definitely. Maybe 82, because now the warm front is pressed back to the north of us. 82, 83 might be a possibility on Thursday. And then Thursday night into Friday, the big system comes in, washes us down temperature-wise, and then we get some of the cold weather from it on Saturday into Sunday. But we're still popping it to around 70 degrees for our highs, which is above normal, so not bad. Generally speaking, this is a good forecast for the week. Friday's the day you're really going to be bothered, and then the hit-miss stuff tonight and tomorrow is going to be hard to forecast exactly, pinpoint it. But we'll do the best we can when I'm on here. And I'll try to update you again tomorrow morning with exactly what's going to be happening during that time frame, okay? All right, so that is it for now. Let's look back at the temperature here. Let me zoom it down here. Oh, I noticed you guys can't see that on there. I'm going to have to adjust this a little bit. Now that I got my clouds moving along the screen again up here at the top right there and down at the bottom, I can see it. I noticed the 60 is just off. It's 60 degrees right now. That was officially no precipitation at the airport, which we can already understand that. So when I'm pointing at the 78, okay, you can see it for today. That's good. But you can't see the 60. I'll have to keep that in mind. And try to see if I can move this around somewhere. 60 in Lafayette, 60 in Perry and Heath. I think it's just because it's close to us, and we're looking at visibility that's pretty much unrestricted at this moment, and no problems out there. Let's take one last look at our satellite picture. There we go. We see the skies. We see some of the cirrus moving off. We still have some out to the west, though. And you can remember the frontal boundary is up here somewhere. And south of that, we're going to see showers and thunderstorms definitely tonight again. So there's one, all right? And then let's take a look at the cameras real quick. What's one of the good ones? Oh, I need something that's looking at the sky. Brookston, there we go. Looking at the sky, that's one side. I think the other side had the really clear camera. There we go. Some of the cirrus off towards the north right now. You can see that pretty good. That's the 231 junction there. And then let's look south real quick at the Dayton camera. All right, here we go. There it is looking over the bridge. And I think we got to go backwards. Nope, that's down to this is Frankfurt. Sorry, guys. There it is. And you can see some of the cirrus off to the south, too. So you can see a little bit of everything in there. All right, so that's it. Let's zip over real quick. move over to moi. And I want to say goodbye to everybody this morning. You all have a blessed day on your Tuesday, April 21st. I will be updating you again tomorrow morning, same time, same back channel, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. for you here in Lafayette. It's been great talking to you. We'll see you tomorrow.